Hello, everybody. Bright suns, rising moons. Greetings to everyone. Welcome to Starlight Beacon Transmissions Live. My name is Eric Mitchell, and tonight I am actually going to be flying solo this evening. Yes, we were going to have Katrina Dennis on this evening. However, Katrina is at Disneyland for Season of the Force. Um, and yeah, I mean, that's awesome. Like seriously, that's really cool. Happy for Katrina, and it looks like they are having a great time. So I can't wait to see what Katrina says about Season of the Force when we do get to talk to them again, which will be very very soon. So yeah, tonight I'm flying solo. So going to be talking about a few things. We're going to be continuing our road to Andor season 2, as well as talking about Season of the Force, because that is currently going on at Disneyland. And we are also going to be talking a little bit about the High Republic, because Claudia Gray's High Republic novel, or young adult High Republic novel, comes out very, very soon. Actually, let me get the release date for that into the Light High Republic. It is. Yes, it comes out April 1st. And that is a High Republic novel starring everybody's favorite young Jedi Knight Reith Silas, who we met in who we met 4 years ago now. In God, what was it? Into the Dark. That's right, Into the Dark. So we get Claudia Gray's last young adult High Republic novel. Uh, this Tuesday actually. So that's really, really crazy and wild. But we're going to dive into the High Republic here later. But for now, let's talk a little bit about Andor. We're doing our road to Andor season 2 right now. And I wanted to talk about a little bit about the Mask of Fear, which is a novel that uh, hey, Jackie, how's it going? Which is a novel about the early days of the Empire. It focuses on Bail Organa, Mon Mothma, and Saw Gerrera. However, yeah, this book has been out for a while. But hey, John, how's it going? And Pickle just left. This book has been out for a while. However, I don't want to spoil it because a lot of people are still starting to read this book. I am almost done this book, and I will say I'm loving it. It is. I will say this right now. This book is very. It is very relevant to what is going on in the world right now. And it's a little. If things make you uncomfortable, this is definitely going to make you uncomfortable. But I'm seeing a lot of parallels between what's going on in the world right now and this novel. Um, and I just want to say Alexander Freed has just absolutely killed it with this book. The Mask of Fear is one of my favorite reads so far this year, and I think when all is said and done, this might actually be become one of my favorite Star Wars novels. I loved what Alexander did with Alphabet Squadron with that entire trilogy. I loved his Rogue One novelization. His Battlefront novel, Twilight Company, is incredible. The guy never misses. He absolutely never misses, and especially with this book about the formation of the Empire, um, there's a lot of politics involved in this because a lot of the Senate is still having like a lot of senators are just like, well, oh, that's pretty cool. Um, a lot of senators in the Imperial Senate in this novel um, still think that they're in power. Yes, yes, he does. They still think that they're in power, right? Like they still think that They can influence the chancellor, but um, a lot of people don't realize that they've been played like big time by Palpatine, right? And it's really interesting to see how because they talk about the public a lot and how Palpatine said like he was going to be the chancellor to bring peace, right? And he was going to be the chancellor to end the war. What did Palpatine do? He actually ended the war, right? Like he actually like he brought peace to the galaxy essentially, and he brought an end to the war. Now, I mean, and that's how the public is seeing Palpatine in this novel. And even the senators, like you look at Mon Mothma, you look at Bail Organa, a lot of them are saying to themselves, "Well, yeah, he kind of did deliver on the promises that he said he was going to." However, we see what happens eventually with the Empire being as bad as it is, and we see how Palpatine tries to unite the galaxy, and he tries to bring in the separatists as well. That's actually one of the big sub stories in the novel is like they're talking about the separatists coming back in to the empire, and about the empire reclaiming separatist space. And then you still hear about these holdouts and everything. And there's a subplot that has a like I said, I'm not really diving into spoilers. There's a subplot involving Saw Gerrera and this one person that actually was an operative for the separatists during the Clone Wars. And seeing their dynamic and seeing how this person who doesn't have a government to fight for anymore is recruited to join Saw Gerrera's rebellion. And then Saw Gerrera is talking about the various experiences he had throughout the Clone Wars, right? And they talk about that story arc quite a bit, actually, in this novel, and it's just fascinating, like really fascinating. And another thing that that they talk about in this novel that is actually um is actually, a big part of Mon Mothma's story in Andor is her relationship with her husband Perrin. And Freed dives into that relationship and dives into the complications of their relationship. And Mon is trying to, do all of these different things. And Perrin understands that he is a tool. He actually realizes he's a tool for her to get things done. So if they're at a party or something and Bail Organa starts spewing some stuff and Mon is pretty uncomfortable with it, Perrin, her and Perrin actually talk, and she's like, "Hey, you want to talk to this dude?" Like, and then Perrin will jump right in, right? So they have this interesting relationship and they have this interesting dynamic. And there are times when you can tell they legit care for each other, but then most of the time they don't, right? Like they realize the love in their marriage, the passion in their marriage has been gone for a while. They are two completely different people. Perrin sees Mon's accomplishments as a way for him to live a lavish lifestyle and to hobnob with everybody, and get his name out there, and he wants to be his own man, right? While Mon is working hard, right? She's trying to not only represent the people of Chandrilla, but she's also trying to help govern the galaxy, help pass legislation that'll not only help the people of Chandrilla, but also help the citizens of the entire now empire. I was going to say republic, but now empire. And it's just a really interesting dynamic that they have. We dive more into the relationship of Mon Mothma and Bail Organa. and how they may or may not, while they may not see eye to eye on a lot of situations, they still have a mutual respect for each other, and they still are and they're both mourning the loss of Padme. Um, this book is really raw after Revenge of the Sith because this takes place like not even a couple of weeks after the end of Revenge of the Sith. So you still have the Empire trying to figure out how to establish themselves as the Empire, how they're going to govern as the Empire, but then you also still have the military aspects too. It's up in the air with the clones and everything. And that's one of the things that the Bad Batch did really well. And this novel ties into Bad Batch a little bit, but not a lot. Um, but it's still really interesting to see how the Imperial Senate is like, well, what do we do about the military? And then you're also seeing some stuff with the ISB and what's going on with them and pretty much their formation, and how Palpatine's using the ISB to spy on senators, spy on dissidents. And like I said, I'm not trying to dive too deep into this because a lot of people are still reading this novel. But it's really interesting. And it's one of those things that I'm so glad this novel came out. Um, it's like I said, it's really interesting. It's really unique. It will make you think a lot. And that's actually so real quick. One of my favorite things about Star Wars stories, and I've said this before, like, of course, we love the big epic scale stories, right? Like, we love like the big stories with the battles and everything. Um, but for me, my favorite Star Wars stories are the personal ones, are the character studies, right? Like this book, Tarkin is a great character study. All six Thrawn novels that Timothy Zahn has written have been incredible character studies into not only Thrawn but Vader as well, and even Palpatine. Like it's really interesting, um, and it's cool to see that Star Wars writers are not afraid to dive into the characters and what makes them tick. Because I think in order for us to enjoy the bigger stories, we need to spend time with these characters that we care about, right? We need to spend time with these characters, know what makes them tick. Not every character I don't want to say not every character needs a backstory, but it benefits some characters to have backstories and then others you're just sitting there and you're kind of like, "Oh, okay." Yeah, I mean, Phasma is another great character study. I really do enjoy that book. I would say both of those books are not only great or the Phasma novel is not only a great character study into Phasma, but it's a great character study into Vi Marati as well as Captain Cardinal. And it sets up their relationship in Black Spire, which is really, really cool. And Black Spire is a really nice character study, further in-depth character study of Vi Marati. Yes, Catalyst with Krennic and the Orsos. Yeah, or the Ursos, or Ursos. Eric will talk good one day. Apparently I can't speak today. Um, but I really enjoy. I'm really enjoying this novel. I think it's fantastic, and I hope more people read this one because it's sitting with me. I know a lot of you are reading the Hunger Games prequel right now, or some other stuff, and I get it. I get it. But for me, this novel just hit just at the right moment, and yeah, I'm just really enjoying it. So I will be done that one soon. And then my plan is I'm going to also try to finally finish Tears of the Nameless between tomorrow and Monday. So that way I can get ready for Claudia's next High Republic young adult novel, which we're going to dive into High Republic here very soon. But read Mask of Fear. It's fantastic, absolutely fantastic. And like I said, Alexander Freed just writes the hell out of that book. And he's one of my favorite Star Wars writers. So, speaking of more on Star Wars, we're going to shift gears here a little bit. One of the people in our chat will be heading to Disneyland very, very soon, and will be partaking in Season of the Force as that happens. But yes, Season of the Force is going on at Disneyland right now, not at Walt Disney World, but it's at Disneyland right now. And it's a celebration of all things Star Wars. One of the things that they have going on is this, yeah, 3 days. That is true. One of the things that they have going on is they have a nighttime show that has some fireworks, but it also has these massive projections on the rock formations behind the Millennium Falcon at Black Spire Outpost. And I saw a few videos of them earlier, and I was blown away. I was just I said to myself, "Wow, that's really cool." I wish we had it at Disney World. I wish we did, but I think it's really cool that Disneyland is getting this. And it actually runs twice a night during Season of the Force. So you have a 9 p.m. show and then you have a 10:15 p.m. show. And so if you miss the 9, you've got the 10, which is really cool. So if you have a 9 p.m. August reservation, you can enjoy that August reservation and then stumble out to the Falcon and watch the show because, as a few of us know, those drinks at Oga's can be strong. Just saying. Those drinks at Oga's can be strong. However, great place. Great place to have a drink, relax for a little bit. I'm not a big fan of the standing tables. I always ask for a booth. Um, but it's a really cool place. So yes, Season of the Force is going on. They have some specialty foods as well. They have some specialty popcorn buckets, including a Death Star popcorn bucket, which I think is pretty neat. They have a Jawa sipper. I believe it's Jawa sipper, and then they also have a Tauntaun popcorn bucket. And then they have some specialty characters walking around. Luke Skywalker is now walking around Black Spire Outpost at Disneyland. Um, I know a lot of people aren't happy that Luke is walking around Galaxy's Edge, considering the time period Galaxy's Edge takes place. But we've talked about that before. I'm not going to dive into that. Um, but it's really cool though that they have Luke. I personally, so I saw a couple of videos and photos today, and at first I thought he doesn't really look like Luke. And the more I saw him, the more I said, you know what? They got the person that they could get, and they do look like Luke, and that's good enough for me. It's like the person that they have playing Rey at Galaxy's Edge too. The person that they get at Disney World looks a lot like Daisy Ridley, except for a few differences here and there, but it's like not crazy. Um, and it's really cool. Like I love it. And talking to Ray at Black Spire Outpost was one of my favorite things from my trip last year. Um, and talking to Vi Marati. So I think it's cool that they have Luke walking around. I believe they have, let me see here. Let me see what other characters they have. Let's just Google Season of the Force characters. Okay. All right. Let's see what Disney Parks blog is saying. So the new nighttime show is Shadows of Memory, a Skywalker saga. and that actually debuted last night. Stunning projection effects transform the spires of Batu near the Millennium Falcon, evoking memories of some of the greatest moments in galactic history as an iconic musical score comprised of familiar themes heard throughout the films of the Skywalker saga draws the audience into the legendary story of the Skywalkers. Um, so yes, so not only can you meet Luke, but you can also meet R2D2 because R2 is walking around, well, rolling around with Luke. And then you also have a fireworks show happening on select nights, and it says Fire. It's called Fire of the Rising Moons. Fire of the Rising Moons is a nighttime experience that showcases a different view of the stunning Disneyland Park's fireworks display with musical accompaniment. And a lot of it is John Williams' score. It can so let's see here. Rising Moons or Fire of the Rising Moons can be experienced from multiple areas in Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, including Black Spire Spaceport, the TIE Echelon docking platform, and the Speeder Garage. Your Magic Band Plus also adds to the ceremony's atmosphere with colorful lights. Another thing that's happening during Seasons of the Force, you do have some special ride overlays. Space Mountain will become Hyperspace Mountain, so it becomes a Star Wars themed version of Space Mountain. So, like when you go into the big dome on the roller coaster, you see X-wings flying around and like all this other stuff and like explosions and everything. Star Tours: The Adventure continues. Um, Features characters and locations from Disney Plus shows such as Ahsoka, Andor, The Mandalorian, and you can experience more than 250 storyline variations aboard the attraction. And then, of course, you have the two main rides at Galaxy's Edge, Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run, as well as Rise of the Resistance, which Rise of the Resistance is one of the most unique rides I've ever been on. I love Smuggler's Run. Like, I love piloting the Falcon. It's one of my favorite things to do. But riding Rise of the Resistance, oh man, it's so good. It's such a great ride. Um, and the cannons are working now. Yes, yes, the Disneyland cannons on Rise of the Resistance did not work for a little bit, but now they are working, and so that means that you'll get to see the Kylo Ren animatronic too, which is really cool. And then, of course, they have a bunch of new merchandise that you can get that's exclusive. Gear up with a new retro collection created in collaboration with Her Universe by Ashley Eckstein. Um, so this is all for Disneyland. Disney World isn't participating in Season of the Force um, right now. I have a feeling eventually it could come to Disney World, but this is all Disneyland. You can get that at the Star Trader in Tomorrowland, and then also at Star Wars Trading Post. For the first time ever, Disneyland Park will offer Star Wars plush for create your own headbands, including Yoda, R2, an Ewok, Darth Vader, and a Stormtrooper. Available at Bing Bong's Sweet Stuff, World of Disney, the Mad Hatter, and Star Trader. Let's see here. Boba Fett's Spirit jersey, now available at Star Trader, Star Wars Trading Post, and World of Disney. And then you also have Star Wars Galaxy's Edge Resistance Duos collection will be available in Resistance Supply in Star Wars Galaxy's Edge item featured an image. And so that will actually okay, so yeah, it has like droids and stuff like that. Um, oh, this is really cool. So and I think Disney World is actually getting these too. Um, let me see here. Let me Google this real quick. Walt Disney World Savi's reclaimed and reforged. Um, I don't. Okay, so yes, this is actually coming to Hollywood studios. And I wish I could be down there to do this right now. So they have Savi's Workshop handbuilt lightsabers will debut a brand new storyline called Reclaimed and Reforged for a limited time beginning May 4th. Guests will be able to build their own lightsabers from scraps that have been scavenged by different pirates throughout the galaxy and made their way to Batu. Purchases required and advanced reservations are highly encouraged for this experience. So that means you could get lightsaber pieces brought to Batu from Hondo Onaka, which I think is really cool. Um, and I, I just want to say this as somebody that built a lightsaber, it's one of the craziest. I shouldn't say crazy, but it is a really emotional experience. It is. Oh man, it's a spiritual experience for a Star Wars fan, right? Because like you're going through this and like you're picking the kyber crystal and everything. And I actually found my pin from from Savi's, and I went the High Republic lightsaber route. And there's the pin right there. It's really cool. So like when you pick like what your saber class is, they give you a pin that you put on. So that way the person, um, the saber wrangler or one of the gatherers sees what you went with, and then they put the tray out for you. And then you pick a kyber crystal and everything, and it's just man, it's so cool. It's so cool. But I really want to see these reclaimed parts, and I correct me if I'm wrong. I believe you are able to. Can you purchase spare saber parts at Savi's? I believe you can. Um, Let me see here. I believe that no, you can't buy individual scrap parts anymore. You used to be able to buy individual scrap parts for your sabers. So if you wanted to tweak them or anything, you could buy like emitters and pummels and all that other stuff for the hilt. Um, let's see here. Droid Depot is stocked with parts, chips, and more to assemble your droid, including BB series, C series, or an R series unit, giving you the tools to build your own droid. Droid Depot will welcome walk ups from around the galaxy at any time, no reservations required. Droid Depot is so much fun. Um, Building a droid at Droid Depot is great. I don't know if you all have seen this, um, but I do have a droid from Droid Depot. I think that you all might have seen this through my Droid Smith cosplays. But yeah, here's my little buddy. You know, built him, gosh, almost 6 years ago now. Yeah, yeah, he's really cool. Let me see here. Yes, I'll make him light up and stuff. But I'm not. Don't expect me to like really move him. Let's see here. Ah, okay, yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, buddy. There you go. Um, yeah. Let's see here. Yeah. So he lights up, and then I've got a smuggler chip in him right now, because I figured, hey, why not do the smuggler thing, which is really cool and a lot of fun. So yeah, yeah, BB droids are cool. My wife has one of those too. Um, I also have a C series chopper that a friend of the show, Maggie, was able to smuggle off of Batu for me at one point, um, which was really cool. And then I have him. I have him in his own little escape pod here. Um, and I'm wearing my Droidsmith shirt right now. I'm actually part of a costuming group called the Droidsmiths Union, which is really cool, and it's a lot of fun, and they're a great group of people. So we have the Droidsmiths Union, and like I have my Droid Depot here, and then my wife actually sewed this patch on. It's a BD Builder droid patch, or BD Droid Builder. Um, I still need to get a BD droid, but hopefully I can get one when we go in September. Looks like we have some specialty food and drinks here for Season of the Force as well. You can get a Wookiee cookie, um, but that's like kind of seasonal. I think Hollywood Studios has them. You can get the Pico Punch, which is pineapple juice, coconut milk, and lime juice garnished with pineapple chunks and lotus root, non-alcoholic. That's available in Tomorrowland. Toydaria Swirl, green milk with chili lime seasoning and mango jellies. I don't know how I feel about that. Fried chicken bao buns, two crispy chicken baos, sweet chili sauce, scallion salad, and cucumber onions. Eh, I don't know how I feel about that. You can also get a Droid Parts premium vessel. This is a popcorn bucket that you can get. It says includes butter popcorn with crate red salt. So yes, you can get salt from the planet Crate from the Last Jedi. They have a Darth Vader mug that you can get, and then they also have another crazy thing that's going on is they're going to have Disneyland After Dark Star Wars Night. This is a special event that they've done in the past where they have other characters from the Star Wars franchise all throughout Disneyland. I believe last year or the year before, they had Ezra there, um, Rebels Ezra, and then they also had Sabine. They had so many characters there. They had Finger and Dan and the modal nodes like going throughout the park on a on a barge, and they were playing music. I believe they had people in Ewok costumes running around. Rex was a meet and greet. Anakin and Padme. Um, so yeah, so many cool things, and that's just the start of it, right? Like that's the crazy part about this. Um, yeah, so Season of the Force is kicking off. Also, let's stick with Disneyland parks or Disney parks real quick, as we do have a few announcements going on with Disney parks. They're not necessarily Star Wars related, but they are Disney parks related. And then we're gonna dive further into Star Wars: The High Republic, because I have one more tidbit from Season of the Force. But before we dive into that, H2O Glow Nights, the after hours event at Disney's Typhoon Lagoon. They have announced dates. Gregors, Greg, talk to me, Goose, talk to me. Yesterday, Disney Parks blog posted about H2O Glow Nights. Oh, come on, Greg, don't keep me in suspense, dude. They posted about H2O Glow Nights after hours event at Disney's Typhoon Lagoon Water Park. This was inspired by the Toy Story short Party Source Rex, um, which is an amazing. Uh, it's an amazing short. If you have not watched it, it's great. Glow Nights will be taking place on select nights through the summer, from May 23rd to September 13th. Oh, you're under contract. Okay. Okay. Well, we'll talk. We'll talk. Yes, but Glow Nights is happening May 23rd through September 13th on select nights. And it's really cool. Each night is a chance to dance the night away in your most colorful glow in the dark style, and enjoy amazing complimentary snacks. Think Mickey bars, popcorn, and select beverages. But yes, so we tried we tried glow nights a few years ago, and one of the things that happened was a thunderstorm rolled through, so we were actually unable to do glow nights. They actually canceled the event like an hour into the event. And it was rough. It was really rough. But we're gonna try to go again. We're gonna try to go again, glow again. Yeah, there we go. But they have some specialty foods. You can get chicken and Mickey shaped waffle sliders. And then you can also get a Glover sized loaded baked potato. Um, they have dance parties, all sorts of stuff. Yeah, it's really cool. Let's see here. Disney's Villains Unfairly Ever After, as well as The Little Mermaid: A Musical Adventure, will open in May at Disney's Hollywood Studios. Little Mermaid: A Musical Adventure is still, I believe, going to be an animation courtyard. Let me see here. Let's see here. Oh no, I think it's actually going to be in the same building. I don't know. But yeah, it's going to debut in Disney's Hollywood Studios, along with a villains musical adventure. And then another thing that's happening, if you are trying to get to Disney World and ride Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger Spin, however, that is going to be closed here very soon. It's going to close in August and reopen next year, as they are going to um, revamp the ride does for Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger Spin. It's a really fun ride. It's fun. It's kind of like a midway arcade game essentially, but it's pretty cool. So yeah, that's that. Um, let's dive further in here. Let me see here. There's a new nighttime parade coming to Disney World. That's going to have a Cocoa float. And then, jeez, frickin' Dino Land closing. Okay, so let's dive back into Season of the Force real quick, and then we're going to dive into Star Wars The High Republic. So, one of the things that happened last night at Season of the Force that I thought was really cool was they actually had a bunch of the High Republic authors there at Disneyland, to not only celebrate Season of the Force, but to also, just talk about the High Republic and share their passion for this story, because the story as we know it so far is coming to an end very soon, as we are going to get Charles Soule's Trials of the Jedi novel. Let me see here. I just want to see when that releases again. Sorry. I am all over the place. Yes, that will be releasing in June. June 17th. So we have a little bit of time. You have a little bit of time to get caught up on Star Wars The High Republic, um, until June 17th, when the final High Republic novel so far releases. We are also getting the Acolyte novel Wayseeker coming very soon as well. I believe that is next month. Yes, that's May 6th. And then, yeah, so that is going to be May 6th. That is the Acolyte novel set during the High Republic, written by Justina Ireland. That's going to feature Indara as well as Vernestra Rowe. So we can see how Vernestra became as jaded as she was in the Acolyte. But yeah, it was really cool though to see. I've saw a bunch of photos from George Mann, Kevin Scott, Alyssa Wong, Zoraida Cordova, Charles Soule, um, just yeah, it was just really cool to see, and to see the love that these writers get, right? Like, they have delivered such an incredible story and such a wonderful story to the fans, right? And they have poured their passion into it, because like that to me is one of like the most important things that you can do as a creator, right? You pour your passion into it. And Greg, if you're still in here, you know exactly what I mean, because you pour your passion into everything that you do with the Lunchbox publications. You really do, man. And with your streaming and everything, like like to see that is just incredible. And to see these writers, these High Republic writers doing the same thing, pouring their passion into these projects, and pouring so much of it in that the fans, I know you are, dude. I know you do. I know, man. And I love you, dude. I love you. You're one of the coolest people I've met. You are one of my best friends, dude. Seriously. Even though we haven't met in person, you are still one of my best friends. Um but the passion is there, right? And to see the people just really excited about that, to see the people that are just there, that love Star Wars so much, it's awesome. It really is. And you can just tell the writers love Star Wars. Otherwise, they wouldn't do it, right? Like, some people are like, "Yeah, I'll do it because it's a paycheck." These writers do it because they love it. They love it. And what Mike Siglain did with bringing all of these incredible people together to tell just this massive story is just, man, it's he assembled a Jedi Council. or or if we're talking comics, he assembled his own Avengers team, really. And it's just, oh, man. And you're welcome, Greg. You're welcome. Um it's just awesome, right? Like, it's just cool. To see those photos, um it was it hit me, right? Like, um it hit me in two ways. First off, it hit in a great way because of the love that people have for these people. Um, a few weeks back, I met Charles Soule at a signing, um, about a month ago, actually, I should say. I met him at a signing at a local comic book shop, and I had him sign my Phase One High Republic omnibus, and um, I just couldn't stop thanking him for these incredible stories and for these incredible characters. And of course, I asked about the broken blade. I said, "When are we getting the broken blade?" And he's like, "Look, I'm working on it, but I had a lot going on." Um, so I said, "You know what? I get it. I get it, right?" But I mean, come on, it's the broken blade. It's really freaking. That's going to be an awesome story. But he said, Trials of the Jedi is going to have one kick-ass. He said it's going to have a bunch of kick-ass moments with Porter. So yeah, I'm here for it. Like, I'm here for it. Like, I'm seated for it. Let's go. Like, anything else with Porter Angle, like, I'm ready, right? So to see that, to see the love, to see the passion there. And another thing that hit me, and this is going to make me tear up a little bit, is that this is the end for now, right? Like, once this book hits in June, that's it for a while. And like, I'm both happy and upset at the same time because I'm happy that we had this, right? Like, I'm upset that it's ending because let's face it, this brought a lot of us together. But I'm happy that it happened. Thanks, man. Thanks. Honestly, if it wasn't for people like Greg and John and Joey and also just the High Republic in general, I wouldn't be doing this. And I get it. We only have what is this? We have 166 subscribers here on the YouTube channel. But we get views, right? And our community is growing, and I need to do more on the audio front. Like I really do. I need to do more on the audio front. But if it wasn't for people like Greg, people like my wife, and the High Republic, I wouldn't be doing this right now. And I wouldn't have been able to do what I've done in this time. And another interesting thing is when I talk about this story bringing people together, excuse me, I gotta get some water. Excuse me, I'm sorry. This came out at the perfect time, right? So this was originally supposed to come out in 2020, but the world stopped, right? Like something big happened in 2020. Um, Thanks, man. I appreciate it. So this was supposed to hit. It didn't. They pushed it back to January of 2021. And it hit at the right time because that's when all of us were really feeling this, right, with COVID. Like it felt like there was no end in sight. It felt like, just like come on, right? Like this book hits. And the community that formed the first book hits, Light of the Jedi, right? Light of the Jedi hits, A Test of Courage hits. They both came out on the same day. And then you also had the Great Jedi Rescue, which was the children's book that had stickers in it, right? Boom, 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 all on the same day, 4 years ago. It hit, and the community that surrounded the High Republic. Oh my gosh, it it hit in such a way that like excuse me, I also have allergies. um that like we could not stop talking about that book, Light of the Jedi, or A Test of Courage, because of Vernestra and Imri, and then Light of the Jedi with Avar and Bell and Loden and Porter and all of these characters, right? Like they hit all of us, right? And I'll never forget we were talking about a scene in Light of the Jedi. Now, if you haven't read Light of the Jedi, please do yourself a favor and read this book. It is, whew, it is intense. It is good, and it is, it's one of my favorite Star Wars novels. It really is. There's a scene in Light of the Jedi after the hyperspace disaster that happens in the beginning of the book. There's a scene about halfway through the book where Buryaga meets this kid who was actually on the Legacy run, which is the ship that broke apart in hyperspace. And he starts like this kid thinks it's all his fault. Like the entire thing was all his fault. And I'm not going to go into why he thinks it's his fault because there's a lot there. But in this moment, Buryaga knows that this kid has just lost so much and he's been through so much that Buryaga just hugs him, right? I read that scene on a night when I was actually down in the dumps because it felt like there was no end in sight to this thing, right? It felt like this was going to go on forever. And reading that scene, not only did it feel like we got a big hug from Charles, but we got a big hug from all of the other writers of the High Republic, as well as the community. The community was there, right? And we kept telling each other, we may be alone, but we're still together. Like, yeah, boom. And that's what I kept thinking. And one of the things that they keep telling you throughout these books is we are all the Republic, right? And we are. And I think it's crazy that 4 years later, I'm reflecting on this, like even more now, because the current end is in sight. Um, and it's bittersweet. We're still gonna bring you just because the High Republic's ending for now doesn't mean that we're still not gonna bring you coverage. We're still gonna have our shows. We're still going to do the audio. We're still going to do all of that, right? Like, just because this current phase of the High Republic or this current story in the High Republic ends doesn't mean that we stop, right? It's just, I don't know. It's just bittersweet, right? Like, it feels like the end, but also the beginning, because this opens up so many other stories, right? And so many other things for this era. Like, this means that eventually we can go back to that age of exploration from phase 2 and we can deal with more of those characters from phase 2, like Rupert and Salandra on Batu. Like, give me a bunch of stories of them on Batu, and eventually I think we'll get that. um getting more stories about Crichton's son after the events of Cataclysm, which would be amazing, and how he is dealing with a major death in his life, which I will not get into because it's a pretty big part of Cataclysm. Um, but even you know, dealing with everything on Jeddah after the Battle of Jeddah, like I would love more phase 2 stories, and they have the opportunity to go back and to explore those stories. And I think they will. Like, I really do. I think they will. I don't think this High Republic era is completely over. It's going to be over for now, but it's never truly over, right? There's still also a lot of time period between the end of phase 3 and the Acolyte. So, like, there's a lot to explore there. For those of you wondering where I think we go from here, we've talked about this in voice chat before. Um, in our Discord server, which let me post that link here. If you have not joined our Discord server, please do so because it's a pretty cool place and some cool people hang out there. Let me see here. Yes. Um, but we've talked about this. I think they're going to go Old Republic next. I think that's one of the things that a lot of fans want Old Republic, right? And if that's the case, if they want to do Old Republic next, that's really cool. Um, because we also have the mangled Dawn of the Jedi film being worked on right now, and between that and the Old Republic, you can set up a lot, right? Not only can you set up the Old Republic, but you can set up. Um, I don't. Here's the thing with the KOTOR remake. Okay, let's talk about the KOTOR remake real quick. Aspire or not Aspire, whatever company is working on the KOTOR remake, uh, they have said that it's still being worked on. However, I don't know, right? Like I don't know. um, if it happens, cool. I don't know if it's going to hit this generation though. I think that this is going to be whatever the next Xbox is, whatever the next and the PS6, like that generation. I think that's when we're going to get the KOTOR remake. I don't think we're going to get it with this generation. If we do, if somehow they announce it at Celebration, because they did say Lucasfilm Games was going to be at Celebration talking about a few things, if we do get a major update and they say, yeah, it's coming next year, okay, cool. I'll get it on PS5. Yeah, I will totally get it on PS5. Um, but we'll see. Uh, if they tie it into the KOTOR remake, cool. But I also think that this is a huge opportunity for them to start from scratch. They can, yes, they can incorporate some stuff from Legends. And I hope that they do. I hope that they do. However, I want them to tell a fresh story set in the Old Republic where they take a little bit from Legends, but they tell their own story. It's one of my favorite things about what they did with Thrawn, with Rebels. Bringing him into Rebels, at first I was like, "Oh, this really? This is what they're going to do?" And then when I watched it, I said, "Oh, this makes sense with what they're trying to do." And it worked perfectly because you set up Heir to the Empire essentially. You've set that up because we know that film is coming. We know the big bad Thrawn movie is coming, right? Like they've talked about it. However, now they've set it up perfectly. Now I know a lot of people didn't like it, but they've set it up really really well. And I can see them doing that. Like, yeah, Revan is canon. He's mentioned in a few canon stories now. Revan's canon, right? So they can go Revan. I don't know if they'll go Bastila with it. If they do, if they bring her in, cool. Okay. But it's got to make sense to the story that they're telling. Everything, that's the big part with this. And I can see where a lot of people don't like how the old EU is now Legends and how there's a new canon and everything. I can see where a lot of people don't like that. I personally don't have a problem with it. Like I will read Legends, I will read canon, I'll read it all because I just love this, right? I eat this up, right? But the thing with Legends is, and here, if that's your canon, cool, cool, cool. If that is your canon, cool. I am not going to argue with you because let's face it, Legends was around for a very, very long time before we got before the canon that we have now. So cool. If Legends is your canon, awesome. The problem with Legends is that not every character is going to work. Not every storyline is going to work, right? So you're picking and choosing. I feel like my hat's crooked. So if you are a creator and you are given the opportunity to bring Legends characters in, you have to pick and choose which characters are going to be natural and organic to your story. That's why Thrawn worked as well as he did for Rebels. And for them to actually bring Timothy Zahn back to write new Thrawn novels was a genius move, right? For them to bring back James Luceno to write a Tarkin novel was great because these are experienced Star Wars writers. Not saying that Charles Soule isn't an experienced Star Wars writer because he is. He gave us the Poe Dameron comic. His Vader run was absolutely incredible. His current or the Star Wars run that he just finished was amazing. Like incredible Star Wars writer, right? But I would like to see some of the older or some of the other EU writers, Legends writers, come into current canon and tell stories. If that's the case, if they can tell a story that works, that's organic, and that brings characters in from Legends, cool. But don't force it. That's the big issue when it comes to a lot of this. So yeah, if they want to kickstart the Old Republic and they want to tie it into the KOTOR remake, they got to make sure it's natural and they got to make sure that it fits the story. That's the big thing. That is the big thing here. Now, for those of you wondering about a certain game that was announced at the Game Awards a few years ago, that a studio that I'm not going to mention has been working on, I don't know if we're going to see that one either. Um, and that one's actually set in the High Republic, but I don't know if we're going to see that one. If we do, cool. Um, I personally will not play it if that CEO of the studio is attached to it. Um, because I can't support it. I can't support it. And as much as I love the High Republic, as much as I love Star Wars, I cannot support a project done by that man. Um, I'm not going to get into it here because I don't want to. Maybe in chat after the show, but I don't want to get into it right now. Let's see here. So for those of you that have read the High Republic, and if you're in chat and you've read the High Republic, please just tell me what your favorite story has been so far, um, or what your favorite memory from the High Republic has been so far. Now, I will say this right now: do not spoil anything because a lot of people still have not experienced the High Republic. So please do not spoil anything. I know that we've talked spoilers before in the past. However, I don't want to spoil it for people because a lot of people are still trying to get into this story. So do not spoil it. Light of the Jedi and Edge of Balance. Yeah, Light of the Jedi, like I said, one of my favorite Star Wars books. Love it. Edge of Balance is great. It's a great manga. Absolutely fantastic manga. Um, both Justina Ireland and Daniel Jose Alder have worked on that, and it's wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. I love that one. For me, I love Light of the Jedi. Um, I love actually I love that entire adult novel trilogy with Light of the Jedi, The Rising Storm, and The Fallen Star. Love those. Absolutely love those. But I will say this, my favorite my favorite phase in the High Republic is actually phase 2. And I've said this before on this show, and I'll say it again. Phase 2 just hit for me. I mean phase 1 hit and I love it, but phase 2 I was just like, "Oh my gosh, this is awesome." Like this is awesome. I cannot tell you how many times I listened to Battle of Jeddah. Like seriously, I cannot tell you how many times I've listened to that audio drama. It is so good. It is so damn good. It is crazy. It is over the top. It is ridiculous, but it is just awesome. It is so good. And I love it. I absolutely love it. So phase 2 is actually my favorite phase. Um, I love the characters more in phase 2. I love the explore. One of my favorite things in phase 2, it it's an end game. It's an end game moment. Yeah, it kind of is an end game moment. Cataclysm's more end game. Um, but yeah, it's a big Avengers esque moment. Um, Actually, a lot of the High Republic has Avengers esque moments. There's also a scene in one of the Phase 1 novels that is similar to when Gandalf and the Riders of Rohan show up at the Battle of Helm's Deep. There's a scene that's similar to that in Phase 1 that I love. Um, I'm not going to say who's involved in it because it's crazy. Um, but yeah, I love it. But yeah, Phase 2 was just this different thing, right? Like the Age of Exploration, I loved. I loved reading about that. I loved hearing about that. Having two chancellors in the Republic at the same time was really cool. It gave us some really interesting characters. Um, I know a lot of people love Axel, which he's a great character, um, but he's very chaotic. One of my favorite things about Phase 2, and this isn't really a spoiler, um, but like one of my favorite things is like we're on Jeddah for quite a bit of Phase 2, which I think is cool. But as we're on Jeddah, we're actually getting to experience different religions and force cults, right? Like different religions that worship the Force, as well as different cults of the Force. And I found it really cool. I found it really fascinating. Phase 2 is also the canon introduction of the Sorcerers of Tund. Um, and I who better to bring in them in than Kevin Scott, right? Like perfect writer to bring that in. So we spend a lot of time on Jeddah, which I think is awesome because let's face it, up until that point, the only time we really spent on Jeddah was in Rogue One. And we all saw what happened with that, right? Like spoiler alert. Um, but we all saw what happened with that. So to get to see Jeddah again and to spend a lot of time there was really cool. And we got to see that in Jedi Survivor as well. Um, and another great thing about the High Republic is Jedi Survivor ties heavily into the High Republic. It's actually one of the main stories in the game. Um, and I love it so much. And like as soon as I heard High Republic, I was like, oh, what, really? Okay, cool. Yeah, we're doing this. I'm on board because these stories have had that much of an impact, right? Um, they've just, man, they've just had that much of an impact. And like I said, if it wasn't for the announcement of the High Republic, and if it wasn't for, like I said, people like my wife, people like Greg, John, Joey, all of these amazing people, encouraging me to do this, I wouldn't be here. And I get it. Like I for somebody with such a small following on YouTube, why am I doing a 2-hour show, right? On a Saturday night. Like, and yeah, I don't have intro videos. I don't have intro audio. I don't have any of that, like when it comes to the podcast or here. But I'm still here. I'm still doing this. I mean, that's all coming. I'm slowly working on it. It's just tough, because I've got other things going on, with life. Not saying that other content creators don't have lives. They do. I'm just saying, like, it's just hard. So for those of you that are here, for those of you that watch on demand, for those of you that listen to our audio feeds, for those of you just that are here supporting us, I just want to say thank you. Seriously. Um, like I said, I wouldn't be doing this if it weren't for you and some very special people in my life. What's crazy, I'm gonna embarrass Greg here real quick. If I haven't already embarrassed him multiple times in this show. Um, Greg and I met doing esports stuff here in the DMV, and when I found out like how much of a nerd Greg was and how much he was like, dude, I love Star Wars. I said, oh, all right. And we started bonding over that. Not only our love of video games, because at that time we were playing, Greg will tell you, we were playing the hell out of Overwatch. We were playing the hell out of that game. Um, and, and, that's one of the things that brought us together because they announced a DC team for the Overwatch League. Um, and that's yeah. Overwatch and Halo. Yeah, man. Yeah. We've played the shit out of some Halo. Pardon my language. But remember that Halo Infinite test. Yeah, oh yeah, that's right. That's right. Because Grant kept getting pissed off at those Halo matches. We played the Halo Infinite tech tests and played the open beta and everything, and we got in there, and those were some of the most fun matches I've had playing Halo. Um, and like us playing Overwatch together and like, experiencing the golden age of that game. So as I was gaming with Greg and as I was interacting with Greg through social media and through Discord and everything, we really got to know each other. And for Greg to join this community and for Greg to be a major part of this community, it means a lot to me. It does because Greg, you're awesome, dude. I've said it time and time again, but you are. Um, you are just you're 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 awesome. And please give Greg a follow on socials. Really, give him a follow on socials. Um, you know, just really get to know him like I've gotten to know him because it's awesome. Like seriously, it's awesome. So, and then like meeting John here, and meeting Jackie, like I was talking to Jackie the other day, and we were just talking about just life and everything. And I said, I'm really glad you joined our community. I really am. And she's like, I'm glad I did too. Like, and John, I'm glad that you're here. Um, I'm just I'm just happy to have all of you here. So thank you for sticking by my side. We have a lot of growth to do. We have a lot of things still to come. One thing that I can tell you, yeah, I love you too, man. One thing that I can tell you is that I am going to be speaking to Zoraida Cordova at AwesomeCon. I am going to be. I got to shoot her a message this week about setting up a meeting, but I want to get you guys some content from Zoraida. Like, I would love for you all to hear what she has to say, to talk about her Star Wars journey, all that stuff. So we're going to be talking to Zoraida. Um, so that's really cool. If I can get some audio from Timothy Zahn, cool. If not, I'll talk about my experience with Timothy Zahn. He's just I've met him before. He's a really, really great guy, super down to earth, and just he's really funny too, like really funny. I talked to him about Scoundrels, and he calls it Solo's 11, because it's literally Ocean's 11 with Han Solo. Another thing, if you're attending AwesomeCon, please join us Saturday morning, April 5th at 11 a.m., as we are going to be doing our con survival guide panel, in which, yeah, we're going to be talking about how to survive a big con. And one of the big things is make sure you stay hydrated and make sure you have food in your system. That is one of the biggest things that you can do. We're going to talk about stuff like that. We're going to talk about cosplay stuff. Um, we're going to talk about budgeting, everything, right, when it comes to conventions. So get ready for that. So if you are attending AwesomeCon, please join us for that. Next year, I'm going to try to do another High Republic panel celebrating the High Republic as a whole. So I am going to try to apply for that panel, or apply for a panel celebrating all of the High Republic, um, because at that point it will have been over for a bit. Um, and I think we need to celebrate, right? Like, we need to celebrate this accomplishment. That's the biggest thing. Um, Celebrating the accomplishment and celebrating the love for these stories. Let's see here. What else? What else? Trying to think. There's just a lot going on, you know. I know Greg and I are knee deep in Assassin's Creed Shadows right now, um, which just came out. So that's actually really cool, a lot of fun. I know some of us are playing Marvel Rivals, some of us are, so there's a lot going on. I am trying to get caught up on so much reading right now. It it's crazy. Like, my to be read pile is huge right now. And I am like slowly getting through it. Um, but it's fun, right? It's fun. Reading's fun. Books are fun. I don't know. Oh, I still am in the process. Well, I'm going to be picking back up, uh, building the Havoc Marauder from the Bad Batch. I still have not finished that Lego set yet. Working on that, so may try to do a live stream for that. I don't know yet. If I do, cool. If not, I will show you all this finished product on social media. For those of you that tuned into Instagram Live, when we did that a couple of weeks ago, when I flew solo a couple of weeks ago, how did you all like that? If is that something that you'd like to see again, like a live Instagram live show for a bit? I know, like, it counts as a reel, and it's like a really long reel and everything, but if that's something that you guys want, please let me know. Um, we want to grow, and we want to grow with you. We want to bring more people into this community, and we want to really just showcase, just the love and the passion of Star Wars, right? Um, because that's why we're here, right? That's why we're here, to celebrate this franchise of space wizards. Um, you know, space wizards and space politics and space wars and all this stuff, right? Like that's one of the reasons why we're here. Um, yeah, just I don't know what else to say. Like I feel like I said, I didn't really want to spoil Mask of Fear because a lot of people are still into that, and as somebody that isn't going to Disneyland anytime soon, um, I've never been to Disneyland. But I really want to, I had to talk about Season of the Force because, one of our community members is going. Um, we're going to try to get you as much coverage from Celebration Japan as we can. The problem with that is I'm going to be sleeping when those live streams are up, right? Like a lot of us are going to be in bed. Um, and and so like I'll try to catch the replays and everything, and I know Leah's going, and Leah's going to try to get us as much information as possible, and I know quite a few people that are going. I know Alex and Molly are going, and a few others. So I'm going to try to coordinate with people about getting information, so that way we can bring you as much information as possible from that con. Um, but we'll have to see, right? And I'm not trying to say like, well, like Celebration Japan is important. It is important. It's just, you know, I like sleep. Like I enjoy sleep. Um so that's all I'm saying about that. Like I said, not knocking Celebration being in Japan or anything like that. Um Believe me, if we had been if we could have gone, we would have gone. Seriously. We would have gone. Um I've always wanted to go to Japan. Really, always wanted to go to Japan. But here here we are, right? Um for those of you wondering why I keep looking at this other monitor, I've got a I've got a soccer game on in the background. I'm sorry. Um, I love my sports. Uh, but yeah, I know this is all random and crazy and ridiculous, but you know, that's who I am. And I just want to thank you all. Seriously, thank you all for being here. Thank you all for um, really just showing your love, showing your passion, and just being here. Um, yeah, I don't have anything else to say right now, um, which is weird. I mean, I could talk about, what, I can talk about a few things that I've been watching and stuff. Like if that's something that you want, trying to get caught up on Young Jedi Adventures. I pretty much binged watched all of Severance on Apple TV. And I have to say, like, as much as I enjoy the show, didn't like that finale that much. I did not care for that finale that much, especially the end. And I'm not going to get into it, but I was just like, oh, okay, cool. Well, I'm good if I don't watch season 3. You know, it's it's fine. Just I saw it coming from a mile away, but still, like, so watch that. Trying to get caught up on Mythic Quest, which is a great show in the gaming industry. Really, really funny. And then, we got that Avengers Doomsday announcement the other day. The 5+ hour Marvel live stream of just them putting directors' chairs down. Which it's fun, right? Like it's fun. However, I just feel like they could have just done the teaser video instead of a 5+ hour live stream about it. Um, I'm still very on the fence about Junior playing Doom. Um, I I just feel like it's I don't know. Like to me, it just feels like I get it. It's the multiverse. I get it. However, part of me just feels like it's just really, really like you couldn't have casted somebody else as Doom. Like really? I don't know. I don't know. Will I see it? Yeah, especially because my X-Men are in it. I get James Marsden back as Cyclops. I get Kelsey Grammer back as Beast, even though he's in the Marvels. I get Channing Tatum as Gambit again, which loved him as Gambit in Deadpool and Wolverine. I get Patrick Stewart back as Professor Xavier. I also get Ian McKellen back as Magneto. However, I kind of wish they had gone McAvoy and Fassbender. But I see why they went the route that they did. Um, so I write for a website, right? Um, I write for a website, a pop culture website, and we have a chat going on, and we were talking about this movie and Secret Wars, and we I said like one of my big things about these two movies is that I feel like they could easily split these two movies into four movies total to give the story more time to breathe. Because here's the thing, if you go Secret Wars, which they are going Secret Wars, you set up Battle World, right? And Battle World in Secret Wars, and more importantly, the 2015 Secret Wars that Jonathan Hickman wrote, which was an amazing event. You set up Battle World. That's where all these different realities have like their own separate sections, right? One of these realities in that event, the Superhuman Registration Act, the Civil War for the Superhuman Registration Act, never ended. Iron Man and Captain America kept fighting, and they ended up forming two countries. And so, like, that's a really important story and really interesting. And actually, like, it's one of my favorite stories. You have that. You have Spider Island going on. You have E is for Extinction going on. You have um, Age of Apocalypse. You have Inferno. You have all of these different stories going on Battle World that honestly, I'd be okay with you splitting the movies. And also, I'd be okay with you doing multiple Disney Plus shows. That way we can let these characters breathe. That way we can let these stories breathe. Because my only issue with movies like this that have giant casts is that it gets caught up in too many cooks in the kitchen, right? You have too many characters to juggle. You have too many things going on. And I get it. This is a big team up movie. But if you're going to treat this as an event film, because that's what they are event films. Treat it like a comic book event. And by that I mean treat it as, hey, this is a big comic book event. But guess what? We're also going to have tie-ins to this event, right? Like this Disney Plus show ties into this event. So you can see what's going on with this and this and this and this. That to me would be more that to me would make more sense, if that makes sense. Like you have an event film, make it feel like a comic book event, right? Have those tie-ins, have those miniseries, have those one-shots, have all of those things to really drive home that this is a huge event. That's just that's just how I feel. So yeah, I don't know what else to say. Um, I'm gonna hop into voice chat here shortly after the show. To kind of just relax a little bit. I've watched a little bit of Daredevil Born Again. I'm a few episodes behind, but I like it. I like it a lot. It's really good. I think that both Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio um, reprise their roles perfectly. It's like they never skipped a beat. Um, yeah, no, I really really enjoy it. Once again, there's just so much going on in the world of TV right now that it's hard to like follow things. Like you kind of have to wait for some things to end before you can watch them and everything. Um, so yeah, that's just my big thing with it. But yeah, it's pretty enjoyable. It's actually one of my favorite MCU projects. My favorite Marvel project in recent years, though, is X-Men '97. I think '97 is just awesome. Um, oh, I did watch Agatha All Along. Finally, my wife had already watched it, and she was like, "Hey, do you want to watch this? I'll watch this again if you want to watch this." And I was like, "All right, cool, yeah, I'll watch it." And for the most part, I thought it was good. Um, I didn't like that finale. I really didn't. Because I felt like they didn't really need that episode. Like, I don't want to get into it because some people haven't watched it, so I don't want to spoil it. But yeah, I just felt like that finale for Agatha was just like, oh, really? Oh, okay, didn't need that, but all right, whatever. So I don't know. Maybe I'm just meh now. I don't know. Like some stuff I just feel like is just too overhyped, you know? Like like I get it. Like if you tell me word of mouth, "Hey, you should check this out." All right, cool. But like if everybody hypes it up and hypes it up and hypes it up, you kind of go in with this expectation like, "Oh, this better be like the best thing ever." And then like sometimes you're just disappointed, you know? Like, yeah, okay, cool. Right. All right. Cool, that happened. But okay. Like, all right, cool. I watched it. Cool. Like a lot of people felt that way with the Acolyte. Like I really enjoyed the Acolyte, but I can see why a lot of people didn't. I can see why a lot of people are just like, yeah, it's fine. It's not amazing. It's fine. I can see that. With Andor, my wife has only watched like the first few episodes of Andor, and she's like, yeah, it was okay. It's not really for me. And I was like, all right, cool. Like, not really for you. Awesome. Like, I'm not gonna force you to watch this. Like, if it's not your thing, it's not your thing. Yeah. I don't know. All right. Later, Greg. Have a good night, bud. Um, yeah. So that's it for me. I'm gonna hop off here real quick, and then I'll be in our Discord chat after a little bit. So we'll see you soon. Next week, yeah, I'll put a live show to start thinking of a live show. Actually, no, next week, no live show as we are at AwesomeCon. So yeah, no live show next week as we are at AwesomeCon. Um, but yeah, that's it for me. I hope that you all have a wonderful night. We will see you all very soon. Bye bye.